Racist cop draws gun on black army general, shocking the entire mall. Major General Sarah Miller gets the surprise of her life. On an unusually rare day off, Major General Sarah Miller, a distinguished and highly decorated veteran of the U.S. Army, decided to treat herself to a bit of shopping. At 42 years old, with her short crop hair streaked with silver, Sarah had a commanding presence that naturally exuded authority and discipline. Today, though, she was just one of many people out for a casual Saturday outing, rocking a comfortable tracksuit and sneakers. Her goal was simple: find a new pair of running shoes and maybe grab a smoothie afterward. Despite having faced a vast array of challenges over the years, from commanding thousands of soldiers in dangerous war zones to brokering tense peace treaties, Sarah's mission today was anything but complex. The crowded Westfield Mall, an upscale shopping center, was the perfect place for her to unwind and blend in with the hustle and bustle of weekend shoppers. As she strolled through the store, browsing through the athletic footwear section, she could feel a few lingering gazes following her. It wasn't unusual for Sarah to turn heads. Her confident, unshakable demeanor had that effect on people. But today, there was something different about these stares. They weren't just curious glances. They held a trace of suspicion that made her feel uneasy. Trying to shake off the odd sensation, Sarah continued with her shopping, unaware that Officer Troy Becket had just entered the mall. Becket, a middle-aged cop known for his tough exterior and quick temper, was infamous for his history of racial profiling complaints. Unfortunately, these complaints were frequently swept under the rug by his department. Today, Becket was off duty and dressed casually in jeans and a simple white t-shirt, but his police badge and handgun were clearly visible on his hip. As Becket passed by the store, his eyes locked onto Sarah. Something about her, a mixture of her military posture and self-assurance, set off an internal alarm in his mind. To him, Sarah didn't fit the profile of a typical shopper at this high-end mall. He lingered near the entrance, pretending to check his phone but keeping his focus on her. While Sarah remained blissfully unaware of the scrutiny she was under, she found a pair of shoes she liked and approached the checkout counter. The young cashier gave her a nervous smile as he rang up her purchase. Sarah handed over her credit card and waited for the transaction to go through. That was when she noticed Becket standing outside the store, staring intently at her. A wave of discomfort washed over her, but she quickly brushed it off. However, things took an unexpected turn as Sarah stepped out of the store, shopping bag in hand. Becket suddenly stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "Excuse me, ma'am," he barked, his voice harsh. "I need to ask you a few questions." Sarah raised an eyebrow, her voice steady yet sharp. "Is there a problem, officer?" "You were acting suspicious in there," Becket said, his hand resting on his holster, his eyes narrowing. "Mind telling me what you were up to?" Sarah's patience, honed through years of handling high-pressure situations, began to wear thin. "I was buying shoes," she replied, holding up the shopping bag. "Is that a crime?" Beckett's eyes narrowed further. "Let me see some ID." "Why?" Sarah asked, her voice calm but firm. "Have I done something wrong?" The grip on Beckett's gun tightened. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he snapped. It was then that Sarah realized this wasn't about what she had done. This was about the color of her skin. A cold wave of realization hit her, but she refused to back down. "Officer," she said, her voice unwavering, "I'm going to ask you to step back. I haven't done anything wrong, and I will not be treated like a criminal just for shopping." But Becket wasn't listening. His mind was made up. In a flash, he reached for his weapon, drawing it and pointing it directly at Sarah. The mall seemed to freeze as people turned to witness what was unfolding. Mothers pulled their children close. Store clerks peered nervously from behind counters. Sarah's heart raced, but her training kicked in. Her military instincts took over. Slowly, she raised her hands in the air, keeping her eyes locked on Beckett's. "Drop the bag," Becket ordered, his voice harsh and shaking. Sarah's voice remained steady as she spoke. "Officer, you're making a mistake. Don't tell me what I'm doing, Becket snarled. Get on the ground. Sarah hesitated. Kneeling would be an act of complete submission, and she wasn't going to give Becket the satisfaction. Officer, she said again, I am Major General Sarah Miller of the United States Army. I suggest you lower your weapon. For a split second, Becket faltered. There was an undeniable authority in her voice, but his prejudice clouded his judgment. Yeah, right, he scoffed, refusing to back down. Get on the ground or else... or else what? A voice cut through the tension. A young man, standing in the crowd and filming the entire encounter, stepped forward. Holding up his phone, he spoke up. She just said she's a general. Dude, you're pointing a gun at a hero. Beckett's face turned bright red with anger. Get out of here, he shouted, trying to regain control of the situation. But the damage was already done. More people in the crowd began pulling out their phones, capturing every moment. Sarah saw her opening. Officer Becket, she said, reading his name from his badge. You're about to make the biggest mistake of your career. Stand down. Becket hesitated, his hand trembling on the gun. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder. Do you know who you're pointing that gun at? Someone shouted. At that moment, mall security arrived. 2 guards rushing over, their faces pale as they took in the scene. What's going on here? One of them demanded. Becket remained silent, but Sarah was ready to speak. This officer has drawn his weapon on me for no reason, she stated firmly. I want to speak to his supervisor. Within 10 minutes, the mall manager arrived, followed by a police captain who had been shopping nearby. The captain, a middle-aged black woman named Denise Harper, saw Sarah and her jaw dropped. General Miller, she said, rushing over. What in the world is going on here? Sarah quickly explained the situation in just a few sentences, her voice calm but unwavering. Captain Harper turned to Becket, her face hardening with fury. Holster your weapon. Officer Becket, she commanded. Becket hesitated. But when Captain Harper's voice boomed with authority, he reluctantly obeyed. Turning back to Sarah, the captain's expression softened. I am so sorry, General, she said. This is absolutely unacceptable. Sarah gave a small nod. It is, and I expect this to be dealt with. The fallout from the incident was swift and unrelenting. The video captured by the young man went viral, sparking outrage across the country. News outlets picked up the story, and Beckett's history of racial profiling was suddenly under the spotlight. Within a week, Becket had been suspended without pay pending an investigation. Meanwhile, Sarah received an outpouring of support from the public and fellow service members. In an interview, she said, "This isn't just about me. It's about countless others who don't have the rank or platform to stand up for themselves. This has to stop." The story quickly became a rallying cry for justice, shedding light on the dangers of prejudice and the need for greater accountability in law enforcement. Major General Sarah Miller's experience serves as a powerful reminder of the ongoing battle against racial profiling and abuse of power, particularly within law enforcement. Her courageous act of standing up for herself, despite the clear danger she faced, has inspired countless others to raise their voices against injustice. This incident also underscores the vital importance of community involvement and bystander intervention. Without the intervention of everyday citizens capturing the truth on their phones, this story might have never seen the light of day. Social media, in particular, played a crucial role in exposing the reality of this abuse of power and forcing authorities to take action. In the end, Sarah Miller's story stands as a stark reminder. The fight against racism is far from over. It's a battle that demands the participation of all of us in order to create a more just and equitable society for everyone.